Hello Pisces, and welcome to your Pisces January 2022 reading and predictions. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those who are stopping by for the first time. And for the subscribers, well, it's always great to see you. Much love and affection to you always, as you know. And as a subscriber, you know I've provided an annual calendar year reading for 2022 in whole. And you can find that on the playlist on my channel. It's very simple. There's only about 3 things on it, and that's one of them. So it's there, and it's simple for you to get hold of. Now, this deck, well, you know how I usually use a lot of astrology and what have you in relation to the numerology, as well as a number of other things in relation to the readings which I provide. This deck actually says for me to take a different way and to more channel information that is coming through from centers of consciousness that relate to and that are taken account of in the mystery religions of ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, and ancient India, and some other parts of the world as well. Now, that's what we'll do then, is that I'll ask you when, now the imagery will invoke a stream of consciousness, and the words that come through may have reference to your shadow side. There's nothing wrong with that. That's or shadow self. I mean, it's a good time of year, isn't it, to do some weeding of the mental garden. And so listen to the words, but more particularly listen to the words which are in between the words. Listen to that something unspoken that the words evoke for you. So let's get it underway and we'll see what happens. I think you're going to enjoy it. So let's start to get some cards. We'll take 5. There's the 6 of Pentacles. What might be down here? Let's have a look at this, which is the Devil, something from the middle, which is the 5 of Pentacles, something from here, which is Judgment, and here, which is the Princess of Wands. Great. Now, what we will do, as usual, is I'll ask you to come down, sit down here next to me. We'll have a good, close look at the cards together while I do the reading for you. Here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a look at the Devil first, shall we? Why not, indeed? The Devil, one of the great cards, famous in the Tarot. Now, in this card painting, it shows the imagined cult of the witches' Sabbath of medieval and early modern Europe, in which the mind's darkest fantasies and fears take control of reason and manipulate logic to wicked ends. Here, we are at the mercy of our inner demons, often projecting them onto others in an infantile attempt at processing them. These inner demons, fantasies, and fears become externalized as real demons and devils that tempted people to abandon civil society for immersion in the wild, dark woods, to taste forbidden fruit and experience strange ecstasies. It is notable that this is an imagined cult, as opposed to one that actually existed. Now, of course, it has been shown repeatedly that the confessions from so-called witches that claimed attendance at a Sabbath were false, and a mixture of folk beliefs and influence or torture from interrogators. The Devil often shows us projections of our fears rather than reality, and demonstrates how the repression of our fears and desires creates distorted perceptions. But what is the mystery of this card? What does it have to say to us? I think it says, "What are the howlings on the wind? What are the cries at night from the bedchamber? What are the strange figures beckoning in the darkness, calling you to the woods? Only you, my little one, only your deep, hidden secrets and desires, only your inner demons and fears made manifest. There is no devil here, only you. No evil, except that which you make. It has been said that I speak only in lies, but the more terrifying thing is that I speak only in truth. I show what is uncivilized, yet exists within all civilized beings. I show what you want to ignore and disguise. I show you the animal within. I am that force of nature that calls you back to the wild and forces you to face that ugly beast of you, that you might become its master and not its prey. I demand that you dance for me and make a pact with me, not because I desire your subservience, but because you must learn what needs to be committed in order to fully realize yourself. To know but one part of your being is the greatest danger. Do not discount even the most repulsive, but learn how vital it is for your soul. If you do not, then your fears will control your perception and give themselves to the harm of others. Your desires will become unnatural by virtue of being against the order of yourself, and those parts of you that you will not accept will become the fuel of the blame upon others. You see, this is the law of the strong. Well, where shall we go then? Well, diagonally opposite it is another major arcana, being judgment. Okay. Let's have a look at judgment here, shall we? You know, it is not always through mystical practices and initiations into mystery religions that we achieve revelation and spiritual evolution. Mythology plays a vital role in our spiritual landscape, often acting as the foundation upon which the mysteries of initiation are founded. You see, mythology is the language through which a mystery is revealed and experienced. It links our human endeavors and experiences with those of the gods, heroes, and ancestors, creating a timeless thread between the past, present, and the future. Now, in the Judgment card, we don't see a mystery religion or a mystical practice, but almost a universal myth, a motif of spiritual evolution and rebirth, and that is the Great Flood. Now, judgment represents a fundamental experience of human life, evolution, and our rebirth. It is so vital for our spiritual health that no single mystical practice or mystery religion could illustrate it. Every initiation, every revelation is a process of rebirth. The soul is reborn out of darkness, out of a state of death and inertia. Now, in the card image, the people in the lowest part of the card, let's have a look at it again. Here they are. Well, the people down there in the lowest area, they're white. Their skin is corpse pale, and some are actually dead, their bodies dashed against the rocks by the great waves. Those who have pulled themselves from the waters are pink-skinned, alive and rising, and those at the pinnacle of the card, taking the final leap off the foundation of earth towards the glowing heavens. They are like the philosopher's stone. Now, the Great Flood myth is found in a large number of cultures. The most familiar to the Western world is that in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, it talks about Noah and his ark. But of course, that's based on an earlier, 1,000-year, 1,500-year earlier Babylonian, Mesopotamian myth, which talks about the Great Flood. But it's held all over the place, everywhere. Even in India, the Manu, the first man of the age in several texts of Hindu mythology, his family and 7 sages escape, having been warned by Matsya, the fish avatar of Vishnu, how to get out of it. And there's also in the Kalevala, the Finnish mythical epic, and there's one rune verse that refers to a flood of blood that covered everything. Anyway, the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, one is which we're most familiar, in which God sent a flood to wipe out mankind, which had become wicked. Now, in this story, one man whose heart is not wicked and his family survived the flood, saving a pair of each animal and repopulating the earth. Now, in the same book, the world and all creatures were created out of the chaotic waters, raising parallels between the waters of origin and the waters of rebirth. Now, in the judgment card, it is from a state of darkness and origin that we are reborn so that we might rise above it. Now, as to the mystery, even the universe grows old and weary. In its age, it cries out for renewal. Just as the soul yearns to rise out of its tumultuous waters of creation to be made anew, so the world seeks liberation from inertia. In this, you and the universe are one and the same. Both must be made new. Both must be pulled from stagnation and evil. Both must be flooded by the divine waters of birth. I am the deluge, the force of overcoming that must in turn be overcome. I am the chaos that will destroy chaos and usher in the age of peace. I am the hand of God that crushes the unrighteous and makes way for goodness of the heart. Know me and fear me, for my mystery is as deep as the unending ocean. It calls to you, urging you to rise, to direct your heart to the call of your higher self, to turn to the goodness of your heart as a compass and a guide. I am the judgment of the righteous over the wicked, the destruction of evil, and the bane of death. In my purging waters there is only life, renewing and replenishing, the breaking of chains, and the urge to ascend above all limitations to the heavens. Well, where shall we go to next? I think we might have a bit of Pentacles action, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, you got the 5 and the 6. Let's do the 5. Let's have a look at this one here. Well, the card image shows 2 old men huddled together in a small boat trying to take shelter beneath the branches of a tree on the lakeside. One is wearing simple peasant clothing. The other wears only a loincloth. They are thin, cold, and in need of aid. Around them, monsoon rains fall. Behind them, 5 golden pentacles float away on the lake, symbolic of all they have lost, and a beautiful temple rises high above the water, rich and majestic. The contrast between the condition of the men and the opulence of what is behind them is stark. It is clear they have been ignored and ostracized by a society that is capable of great art and beauty, rich in material wealth. Yet still, these men go cold, hungry, and unsheltered. What small action would it take to bring them out of their suffering? What kind words? And the mystery is that all is suffering and loss. This is the way of the world and the human condition. What you have in your hands will crumble to dust, but what you hold in your heart will give you comfort and shelter. You, like all others, will know the difficulties of isolation, of being cast out into the cold, of asking for aid and being refused. You will know the sound of the empty purse and the door being shut. You will know the cold of the wind on bare skin and the taste of hunger on your lips. I am that bitter fruit, the result of grasping and greed. I am the cry for help in the darkness and the reply of silence. I am the plea for compassion towards your fellow creatures and the force that ensures that you know what it is to lose and to suffer, to be excluded and ignored. What will it take to make you listen to the downtrodden, to extend your hand to those reaching out to you? Well, then, to turn to its companion, the 6, here is this. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, really, this painting shows a Buddhist monk wearing the orange robes of, what I'd say is Cambodian Buddhism, seated in meditation at the feet of a statue of the Buddha. Now, the statue holds its right hand in the gift-giving pose. The monk holds in his lap his begging bowl, in which he receives gifts of food. In the foreground, an exchange takes place. A lay person of the community offers rice to the begging bowl of another pair of outstretched hands. Another form of offering is also made in this card. Incense burns in the temple in which this scene takes place, and that is a traditional offering in Eastern and Indian religions. Now, what is the mystery that is associated here? In all things there must be balance. On all the paths of life you must walk hand in hand with reciprocity. Nobody is an island, and the jewel that is your community welcomes you, sustains you, and asks for sustenance in return. When you give your offerings to the gods, burn incense to your ancestors and spirits, breathe your prayers to the winds, you give of yourself, yet receive 1,000-fold. Each gift of charity to those that seek it increases your joy and security in your community. Each kind word spoken engenders 100 more that you will receive in turn. Know that to give is to receive, but do not tread this road in order to gain. My mysteries are not of greed nor thought of self. Mine is the act of charity and the flow of wealth towards necessity. Mine is the prayer of need and of gratitude in one breath. Mine is the recognition of community. Do not be afraid to ask. You shall receive. Give, and you shall strengthen the world. Offer of yourself, and you shall be as the greatest sacrifice at the beginning of creation. Well, we turn now to, finally, to one of the glamour girls of the deck. Let's have a look. This is the Princess of Wands. Now, the Princess of Wands here is the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis, and she's in the process of creating through an act of will or a direction of energy. She is the dynamism required to create and the ability to focus your energy and will so it can burn more brightly towards a single goal. Now further, she brings to life all that may have been slowly decaying or becoming stagnant. Now this princess is the throne of her suit, and it is from her that the ace of the suit is born. Manifestation is her power. It is therefore apt that Isis' name means throne, that she was seen as the seat of power of the gods and kings in ancient Egypt. It is this throne which is seen in her headdress here. She was the mother of Horus, the god that represented the king on the throne, the pharaoh, and the pharaoh was seen as laying in the lap of Isis. She suckled him, protected him, and set him upon the throne. Now, just like the Princess of Wands, Isis can be seen as the source and legitimization of power. She is frequently represented in the pyramid texts, which together are all those hieroglyphics that were found inside the pyramids in the burial chamber of the pyramid. And in those writings there, since we've lately worked out what they mean, Isis is represented as giving her milk to the dead king so that he may achieve life among the stars after death. Now, what can we say? The mystery is here. Think not of the beginning of all things as a step from water to shore, but as the hardening of softness in the fiery furnace of the stars. For you are nothing but an ancient star fallen and made manifest, the tale of the blazing stars of so long ago still burn in our dance of life, love, creation, and destruction. See my dance, and see the fire and the universe I contain within. It is from my loins that kings are born, and by my word that kingship is granted. I create and hold the power that rises in the beginning, and I destroy it utterly at the end. I am Isis, the throne mother of the gods, primordial child of time, the sayings of whose mouth come to pass. I am the queen of heaven, and desirous of earth. I am great of magic, and my blood is power and life. I know the secret name of all things within the earth and above the earth, and with this power I make manifest my will. I drive out the serpent and know how to direct it. I draw down the power and hold its fire within. I conceive from potential and from possibility, and out of death and inertia I bring forth life, giving the smallest spark the fuel to burn brighter and more hungry. Like you, star-born flame, I want, desire, and yearn. Nothing will ever be enough, for I am the fire that cannot be extinguished, self-fueling and perpetual. I can teach you the true magic of harnessing your will and power, of containing and limiting it. For in limitation there is readiness, and the fire contained in the furnace burns hotter for its tomb. I will show you the manifestation of desire through willful action, for there is nothing in the heavens, on earth, or under the earth, that I have desired and not attained. My will be done. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, that's January 2022 done for you. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating, I think. Don't you? I think it's going to be a great month for you. And don't you deserve it? You really do. Anyway, some interesting food for thought there, I think, and you know how to do it. Onwards and upwards for you always. Now, remember one thing, and it's one thing to remember until I see you again, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.